Hello guys and welcome back to Mirta Reviews episodes of The Sims Sparked. I am so glad that you can join me. First of all, we're gonna open not from the episode itself, which is a bit weird, I know, but this is just a bit of a comment. I hate how much EA doesn't care. It's very obvious that they didn't really care about this whole competition, so I don't know why they spent money on it. But you know how there was a destination wedding sort of challenge running alongside for the Simmers to partake in? There is like one button that just sums up with how much EA thus thrown in the towel and doesn't give a shit and don't actually want to invest the time required to actually have effort put into these shows. And this is the button. Can you see why? Challenge closed. Explore Sims Sparked creations now. Find your favorites here. And all that does is it searches Sims Sparked destination wedding on friggin' YouTube. So if you have partaken in the challenge, they're not even gonna host you. They're not even like gonna embed you into the bloody website. No, they're gonna put a button that does a YouTube search. Well, tomorrow I'm gonna be reviewing other people's Sims Spark Destination Wedding Storyteller submissions because I wanna showcase people and I wanna see what other people have done. EA literally just doesn't care. They don't care one bit, and it bothers me how much they don't care because it permeates into this show as well. But today the whole episode is just this challenge of skill challenge. So no teams are getting eliminated. It's just one big skill challenge because we're now in the finale. We're now in the part 1 out of 2-part finale because the show was like super small. They tried it and I think it's easy to say that it wasn't very successful. So finally at the finale bit, the challenges are now solo, which I encourage. So it's stylist versus stylist, builder versus builder, storyteller versus storyteller. The first challenge that we see is gender non-conforming challenge for the stylists. I immediately rolled my eyes because this isn't the kind of challenge that I honestly want to see. 6 different sim models that are different in size, shape, gender, and ethnicity, gender fluid collection. And you have 45 minutes, and I can't stress you enough how little time that is. Thankfully, it's not actually all the outfits on every sim. Every sim only gets one outfit. I feel like that wasn't actually disclosed enough. So now, it's X Mirror Mirror from Team Llama versus Little Siha from Team Cowplant as the stylist, and it's X Mirror Mirror's turn. And the first thing that you're gonna see currently is this little judge comment that comes from Simgur Ninja.
A lot of diversity in terms of body size or age, and I'm wondering if that's something that they're going to change.
We're not seeing a lot of diversity in body size and age, and it's like, why do you think people don't go diverse when it comes to age? Could it be because you spent the last 6 years making sure that only one age type is pleasant to play? Could it be because you never actually built family play, so whenever people hear create 6 Sims, they immediately think young adult? This is your failure, and he criticizes things that are his failures like over and over again in this whole competition, and I don't think that he knows just how bad it comes off of. Now, I am gonna be showing quite a lot more footage than normal this time because, well, it's people, they're competing 1 versus 1. I want you to see what they made, and I want you to hear all of the judgings that matter more than anything. So the next thing that we're gonna see is X Mirror Mirror's submission.
Be Cool as Ice with the Chill Collection by X Mirror Mirror. Always shaken, but never stirred. So we have Mirta and
I don't even see how this is gender fluid, honestly. She just looks like a chick that likes beachwear. And it's brown with blue, which is fine. Her, like, defining color is blue, but the secondary colors are pretty random sim to sim, to a point where one sim that you can sort of see over here just has a kind of horribly mismatching outfit.
She's wearing her swimwear fit, Mia. She has on her active fit.
I once again don't really see anything gender fluid here. I see a beautiful sim female with short hair that's dressed in blue. To me, they just look like Sims.
Next up, Gary. He has on the everyday.
Now with Gary, for me, this pant color is such a clash. I think she wanted the moon emblem and the pant color to be the same color, but because you don't have a color wheel in The Sims, she probably had to go with whatever was the next best, but it just looks so horribly off.
And then we have John over here, which I have fun with because I really like his hair. It kind of came out in reverse.
I actually really liked John, not because he reminds me of anything gender fluid, but because he's kind of solo colored sim. It's not a thing that you would do in real life because solo colored is a pretty bold approach to fashion. But solo color is fun in the game to a point where people actually incorporate that into various challenges.
I was trying to do neutrals with pops of prominent colors, and it kind of turned into like prominent colors with like pops of neutrals here and there. And then we have Deshaun, who is in his formal. We have...
Now, I like how Deshaun didn't even get any extra description. It's just like, oh, that's just Deshaun and his formal. I don't think that pants are the problem there. I'm okay with the pants. I think that the pants really clash with the hat though, and the black shirt also feels out of nowhere, while the shoes, they kind of look like they're brown blue, but a different brown than the hat and a different brown than the pants. It just ends up looking like Sims. It just ends up looking like somebody's dressed Sims, and that's probably because this isn't something you're meant to do in The Sims 4. It doesn't have a color wheel. It doesn't have, like, fancy pattern designs. You just have to make sure that the clothes don't look off as an ensemble. That's all that you're... It's not really a tool for creativity. It's a tool for spending money.
Katie in her warm weather outfit with the shoes and the top. And
the only thing I can say about Katie is the fact that she's fat. That's it, because that is like a one-piece outfit, and it's blue, okay? It's a blue one-piece outfit. She looks like a sim. It would be like if I gave you a dress-up game with 100 dresses, okay? And you were like, red one! And then I was like, oh, how innovative! Good! You picked the red one! Ah! My favorite bit is the fact that in here, Sim Guru Ninja once again does a quip about the fact that everyone's an adult, but he actually has to ask whether or not they're all adults.
Variation of age in there.
they're all adults.
Any variation in age in there? Because, I mean, our teen and adult and young adult all have the exact same model, and if you dye the elder's hair, they might be mistaken for an adult too. Next up is Little Siha, and I gotta say that at the very least, Xmeramera did a good enough job for the fact that she had 45 minutes to do this. That is like a very, very short time frame. You don't really have any tools to be creative with. I am so sorry if it's noisy. I'm always recording from the bedroom because I don't have a personal record room. But the next up is Little Siha, and she wanted to play with a parrot and it just came off so wrong. I kind of feel bad for her.
And Little Siha, you're up next.
When I thought about fashion, the first person that came to mind was my grandmother. She wears a lot of very strong patterns, a lot of very bright colors. So I named my collection Suzanne. My goal was to
make a Suzanne
one focal point of each outfit. So this is the look I've chosen for the party outfit. I took a lot of inspiration from like Harry Styles. You see him wearing like a lot of blouses and like high-rise pants. This is our exercise outfit. I did want it to be a little bit simple. This one is our formal outfit. I tried to make him look a little bit posh, a little bit self-absorbed, and I tried to fit in some green as well in the shoes. He's got some rings as well, and this is our swimwear outfit. I kind of struggled between making the focal point the actual bodysuit as well as the flower crown. But I really liked the way they look together, and I wanted to put her in some wedges too. And for our sleepwear, I didn't want this one to be too complicated either, like the sportswear, because you're just passing out, so. And lastly, we have our everyday wear. I'd like to imagine this.
I would like to imagine that these Sims were not actually designed by a human, because I didn't actually want to say anything while she goes through and finishes, but to me it literally felt like it was something randomly generated. It didn't look good. It didn't look good. But some of the judges are always trying to be very positive. Some of the judges will rate the fact that you have a story over the fact that what you made.
I like that it was a personal story. Anytime you have a designer that has something that says, these are what these prints, these are what these cuts mean to me, and the story that I'm trying to get across, I love that you added the flow for that reason.
I love the fact that it was a personal story. The fact that nothing looked like it was coherent does not really matter. But anyways, they practically all checkmarked the fact that all of these people met the diversity requirement and kind of moved on, because I don't think that any of these judges know how to judge fashion, so I don't understand the point in having the stylist competition. Now, the builder competition was very interesting, but I'm gonna play to you what it was the challenge, because I feel like I didn't understand the challenge, and one of the challengers didn't understand the challenge. Either that or the judges flopped as to what they're judging midway through, which just came off as arbitrary as all hell.
For this challenge, you must create a unique mode of transportation using unconventional materials. For example, if you're building an airplane, you can't use an actual airplane wing.
Unique mode of transportation using unconventional materials, which means modes of transportation that exist, right? I have to make sure here, because I suppose you're gonna say. So it's Dr. Ashley from Cowplant versus Sim Lysy from Llama, and I will immediately just like skip to what Dr. Ashley made, which is it's throwing me off. It is throwing me off in ways that I think I didn't understand what the competition was.
Presentation.
When I first heard that I had to build an unconventional mode of transportation.
Not an unconventional mode of transportation. You have to build a unique mode of transportation using unconventional materials. You flipped into a whole different challenge, girl.
The most unconventional I could think of, and that is traveling through time.
I feel like if you have to build the transportation mode and you select one that doesn't actually exist, that's almost like cheating, because you don't actually have to emulate anything that exists, because anything is a time machine. If you remember from Doctor Who, the time machine is a TARDIS that is effectively disguised as a telephone booth. It's a time-traveling telephone booth, which means that you can have a time-traveling watermelon if you wished. You could have enlarged a watermelon, built it an interior, and go, this is my time-traveling device. And it would have worked, because time-traveling devices don't exist. It's anything that you want them to be. Which is why it throws me off so much.
So here, through the trees, there seems to be a wreckage site and my time machine.
I gotta say that her wreckage site was like the most uninspiring shit ever. I think that she means that there was a house that just stood there and the time machine is just a piece at the top. Either that or the whole house is supposed to travel. You see, the issue is that it's very square, it's very cornery, because The Sims doesn't deal with roundness very well, and in fact The Sims 4 deals with roundness even worse than any other game previously. Everything's very cornery, and when you build a block that's like bigger at the bottom and smaller at the top, it kind of just reminds me like you took those transportation containers and threw them down to make a house. I can't see this as a time traveling machine. I can't see it as a spaceship or as a rocket or anything. It looks like a house to me.
I really wanted to go with a time machine because it is unconventional and it also leaves it completely up to me what it looks like. The scene I was kind of trying to paint here was a crash landing. There's kind of like the engine falling off, some debris, and all the trees have kind of been knocked over. I thought maybe of going for the more modern, super futuristic vibe. Let's just look at the top a little bit. There's kind of like the motherboard, mothership kind of antenna thing that allows you to go through time. So as we go in, I wanted to have kind of the contrast of a really beaten down exterior, but inside, the technology's got to be there. So it's got to be futuristic, modern, all the technology. One thing that I did want to kind of emphasize is I have a bunch of clocks everywhere, mainly to illustrate that the person who uses this machine needs to keep track of time around different time periods.
Why would you need to? Can you only go to specific time periods with very set times? If I want to arrive in London at 7 p.m. 1936, why would I keep track for London 7 p.m. 1936 when this is a time machine? I can just go another hour back. Tracking time does not help me. You track time zones because you need to know what time is right now in Tokyo. You don't need to know what time right now is in 1930s because 1930s has all the time. The time is whatever time you choose to arrive into. I think that's how time machines work. But anyways, she received really high praise for that. Moving on to Simlicey that tackled the challenge kind of like I would. She repurposed a mode of she made a bus and she repurposed it into a house, which I thought was really cute.
Bill.
So what I decided to go with was a conventional mode of transportation but used unconventionally, a school bus that's been turned into somebody's home. And I wanted to use objects that obviously weren't made for a bus and try to make it look as much like a bus as I possibly could. And so what I decided to do on the interior was really add as much clutter and things that I thought really suited this whole like hippie story I wanted to tell, and really like bring in the flowers and use some of my favorite items as well because this is one of my favorite styles to build in. There's also the art easel and the bubble blower because I thought it fit the whole hippie theme, if you guys get what I'm saying.
You need a bubble blower if you're gonna be a hippie.
So I have some chairs in here, and I also use this wall decoration to simulate a steering wheel, and then also for the dashboard I sized up some shelves. And then here on the front to create the effect of the school bus, I used some roofs. And then also these are headlights sized up, and also the wheels are lights as well because we don't necessarily have tires, and this is supposed to be using things that are unconventionally.
Effectively, she did the challenge the way that I would do it. I would actually do a mode of transportation that exists and then would either turn it into something else or would just do a regular mode of transportation. Just assembling a regular school bus would have been such a win because this game is really not meant for that. But she lost. All the judges viewed her very negatively. She lost points for doing what the challenge told her to do.
I would say that you definitely used unconventional things. Like I really liked that you used some kind of wall decal backwards in order to get the wheels. Like I think that's really clever. But I will say like a school bus doesn't feel like that's necessarily like unique.
Was the challenge to create a new transportation method, lady? No, it wasn't. It was to repurpose. It was to build an existing one. What happened? It's like the judging is the most... It's the most subjective thing ever. It's like if somebody told you to build a palace and you did, and then they came out on stage to judge the creations and go, you know what, guys, today I feel like the color red. Whoever built that red balloon over there, that is the current winner. You know, it kind of feels like that. So the building part, it really irritated me. Between this point now and when the storytelling challenge starts, Devo Sims has decided to leave the competition because she arrived here with her friends and all of her friends got eliminated. So English Simmer has replaced her. Now, the current challenge is storytelling live based on a scenario. So, to get sell that fixer-upper, act as a real estate agent to sell a house, and Judge Dave takes control of the tour. So he controls the camera, you kind of speak about what that room is about, and you try to sell it. Now, the issue with that challenge is that this isn't really storytelling, this is acting. You are putting people on the spot to be a great actor and an improviser, not to create a story. There isn't a story to create there. There isn't a start, a middle, or a finish. This is an improvisation round, effectively. And you're gonna judge people on their improvisation skills. It is Dr. Gluin versus English Simmer. So Dr. Gluin will go first. Now, first of all, I am gonna say that I don't think that either one of them did that good, but they couldn't have. They couldn't have. They were told to improvise with what they see on screen the moment it comes up. That's the thing. That's the challenge.
Welcome. This thing has been on the market a little longer, but it has a lot of character. Let's walk on inside the house. If you got pets, then they will love this thing. A lot of like interaction for the little critters, you know.
What's in the kitchen?
Oh yeah, that's Roger. He comes on weekends to do a little house cleaning. I can't say enough about how amazing this kitchen is. The wallpaper is versatile. It can come on or off depending on what you want, or in between. Either way, which is fun. Of course, here we have a lovely bathroom. Now, all the water is just left on all the time, which is really fun, you know? I hate turning on those taps all the time. This is the living room, and how many times have you seen a fireplace? In this economy, you don't see them, so really, let's go ahead and head into the back of the house here. The previous owner had a little bit of an accident, and they're still technically here. Let's head on back to the front of the house again, and oh, here we go. Actually, here's one of the previous owner's wife. If you can get them to come out, they're super friendly. You are gonna love what you see upstairs. Oh my goodness, so nice. I love the open concept of the piping, you know what I mean? Like, I just like to see where the water's coming from. It's always running, which is awesome. Whatever you do, here's this is Larry.
This is an oversized rat, y'all.
Yeah, it looks like Larry's practicing his acting skills in front of that wonderful mirror.
I don't know about you guys, I'm a little frightened right now.
Yeah.
Shall we head back up?
Yeah, let's head.
And that's practically where it ends. The thing with this challenge is that they all always compliment these people, and I really can't with these compliments.
Everything that kind of popped out, he flew with. It all flowed really beautifully.
It all flowed very beautiful. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. It was a mess. The English Simmer makes an even bigger mess, but it's a mess. But what can you expect when you put people on the spot like this? Like, this is not a storyteller role. This is some sort of weird improvisation class, okay? Well, let's see English Simmer.
So, as you can see, we are in a lovely world filled with greenery. We do have a few.
You know, I never script my videos pretty much, and I always track how much and I do, because it just breaks up the flow of conversation to a point. It's very noticeable if you keep on tracking that, and in her performance, it was practically everywhere.
Cracks we are hoping to fix up a little bit. We have some pets that come included. You'll never be lonely in this house. Through to the kitchen. You have fresh ingredients in your kitchen, fresh enough that they are still alive right now. So the pots actually cook themselves. You know? And this is the current resident who is living here. Don't worry, he'll be out before you guys move in. And here we have the man who built the house. This is this is Count Julog. And this is our pride room. This is where we celebrate you being you. And here we have the second bathroom. Like I said, you are free to shower wherever you want to in this house. I would prefer to shower in the kitchen, looking at this.
What's in here?
So this is actually from this is the nursery. Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Hi there. So this is Clive the clown. He passed away, and he was really close with the child of the family. He likes to visit every so often and just play.
I'm a little scared now, guys. Do you want to go back out front?
That's another thing, and both of these, they were like, I'm a little scared now. Do you want to go back in front? Yeah, we do. It comes off as being very, very fake. That was an absolute speaking disaster. It was. I am so sorry. It was. It's very not fair for her, okay? Because you're put literally on the spot to do this, but it's just...
Great job. I loved the...
You did a great job. No, she didn't. No, you can't. You can't make a speech like that. It's an improv class for introverted people that make videos online. That is not fair. And I understand that circumstances permitting, it was a good attempt, but that was not a good job. If you end up with like 10 uhs and uhs in 2 minutes time, that wasn't a good speech. I am so sorry. And then they go off to judge the whole thing, and the stylist judging was at least thrown off for me, except for like this one comment, like,
Really wished you pushed it more. Both teams, you know, for a gender fluidity challenge, you know, I think we expected to see a little bit more variety on the gender fluidity.
variety on the gender fluidity, what do you even mean? Because from my perspective, if you don't mean dressing as the opposite, as in dressing masculine on a woman and dressing feminine on a male, which is what both of the competitors did, I would interpret it as clothes that are baggy enough for nobody to identify your sex while looking at you. That being said, the person that won has been Team Llama's ex Mira Mira, which I absolutely agree with because her collection looked coherent. The theme was blue, it was ice cold, and it incorporated blue into every single outfit, and it kinda looked like it was themed. While the opposite team, it looked like the random generator has created you some Sims. That is what I'm seeing, so I agree with the unanimous judging here. Now, builder judging, they gave it completely to Dr. Ashley with absolutely no contest. Absolutely no contest. They were like, so imaginative, and I just feel like I didn't understand the challenge. I feel like Dr. Ashley's opponent didn't understand the challenge because I didn't interpret it as, I want mode of transportation that doesn't currently exist. I interpreted it as, build a mode of transportation that currently exists inside The Sims in 45 minutes using unconventional materials. And then we go to storyteller judging. Now, I think personally that Gluon did better than English Simmer. It wasn't really a story challenge, it was more like it was improvisation on stage, that's what it was. can't describe it as anything else. And I was very, very surprised that somebody went ahead and gave a point for the English simmer. It's not that she did a bad job, okay? It's not nice to put people on the spot like that. It's just that it didn't flow whatsoever. Like, Dr. Gluon's jokes were repetitive at points. They were like, oh, he flew, he was just like that. He just kept on going, you know? It flowed. And no, even his speech didn't flow. It didn't have a flow because he was put on the spot. But she stuttered. She would stop to think, and she had a lot of thinking out loud, where instead of trying to create a sentence like I am doing right now, where I'm always speaking, instead of that, you just you stop to think, but your mouth is still going, so you just end up going, and before you continue with that sentence, and it's not a pleasant sound, especially if you hear it often and you learn to listen to it.
Well, both these teams were pretty fun. I don't know if I'd buy either house. Dr. Gluon, I honestly thought you could have been a little bit more on point with the humor. English Simmer, I think your realistic kind of approach to kind of taking the role of the realtor and trying to upsell us on all the features of the house, I think that kind of won me over. So I'm going to throw my vote to you on this one.
I feel like both of them were just trying to be funny. I don't understand what's the realistic point of view on the house thing. I don't understand it at all. I don't know what he was speaking about. But anyways, Team Llama has won. Team Llama has just like outright won, and I kind of agree with that. I agree on that. I think that the building challenge judging should have been more both ways. I don't really see why building something that doesn't exist should win your challenge that's about building a mode of transportation. But that's, you know, me. And they have gotten an extra 15 minutes next week, so it's like, hooray! It's kind of meaningless, honestly. The same problems persist. The judging is incredibly subjective. It is incredibly subjective. Nothing is explained in enough detail, and the way that the judging goes, you as the audience kind of feel like you're being gaslighted by the judges, which is a really interesting thing. Like, you feel like it's your fault that you didn't understand the challenge. That's why you're right now questioning the judging. But then you rewind and you re-listen and you go, no, that wasn't the challenge. The challenge, what? Why are you judging this way? Effectively, what they like goes. The competition. It felt like they threw in the towel. It felt like they threw in the towel by episode 2, where they left friggin', where you had points where there were 2 cursors on the screen, or when you had points where you had the play button on the screen, and it wasn't the fault of the competitors, it was the fault of whoever was making the show. It was the fault of whoever was at the projector. It feels like such low budget crap that got aired on live TV, and the prize money was $100,000 to such a flawed game that could use so much bug fixing and so much more resources that you keep on saying there's not enough money, but you have enough money to do this, but you don't even do this properly. You throw in the towel. Like, we had this idea, it sounded kind of interesting, we didn't actually want to put work in it, so just whatever. Whatever comes out will be good publicity, right? That's what it feels like. It could have been good, but it really wasn't. So thank you for watching. If you like my content, please subscribe. If you're still here tomorrow and the day after, and possibly the day after, I'm gonna just be looking at people who submitted destination wedding challenges. I am gonna be looking at other people's submissions, and I'm gonna commenting on it, and it's gonna be like a 30-minute video each, because EA is not giving it attention. At least somebody should. At least somebody should appreciate the efforts that people went through. Come on, you don't have a lot of storytellers remaining in your game, EA. Do better! do better with the game and do better with your community. This is just, it's not good enough. But thank you for watching, and see you the next time. Toodaloo!